Hey guys, sorry it's been such a long time since I've recorded. So there was a patch that just dropped, and I lost all the games I had recorded previously. So I wasn't kind of expecting that, and kind of while that was happening, just been really busy. But besides that, I did see Beastie Cutie dropped a new video on Mongo Trade Build Order with Deerstones, which was a really clean build order. I really liked it. It's really nice, and um, I kind of wanted to just go over my build orders and been kind of practicing different build orders just um, with this new season and kind of testing things out with that, and been doing a lot of testing on the build orders. Um, That being said, I think my Keshik rush is probably about the fastest you're gonna get to get a Keshik out. I think there's actually one other variation to get a Keshik out. You might be able to get a Keshik out maybe 20 seconds faster, around like the 4 minute mark. Um, but I've been getting really consistent with the Keshik timing at 420 ish. Latest is like 430. But I've been doing a lot of really all-in gameplay where I'm just really focusing on military and infrastructure and just investing all of my early resources into that. I'm not getting trade really until like 8, 9 minutes into the game. I'm not getting wheelbarrow. I'm not getting any eco techs, and just kind of looking back on it, my eco really gets my army and eco gets really outscaled by around the 15-20 minute mark. So I think that's kind of extrapolating, or I guess that's contributing to why like a lot of my games I feel like I'm in a really good situation, and then I just kind of get like overwhelmed. Besides like that they're infantry based and all that stuff, it's I felt like my eco was kind of slacking behind, and just talking with some buddies, and we were kind of looking at the build, and they had made a couple of good comments, and that my eco I'm just 100% neglecting my eco. That being said, I kind of wanted to modify my build. And looking at Beastie's build, it's fairly similar. I think the biggest difference between Beastie's build and my build is just that, besides that I go all cav, the biggest difference is actually that he goes for a wheelbarrow before he goes for a stable. So that does allow his eco to be sitting in a stronger place at the end of 10 minutes. And from there, I mean, you're basically fine. But like the difference is basically 1 minute in terms of timing on the wheelbarrow. And, the other contributing factors can contribute to this. But, that little bit later of a wheelbarrow means you're getting on average like 100, 200 resources less. On the resource gathering. So I've been on average about 200 resources less than Beastie's build. But the plus side is that I'm trading those 200 resources early, pre 10 minute mark, and I'm trading those 200 resources for basically early military presence and unit presence. So against some units, against some civs, say French, you're gonna get hit with an early knight. You're gonna get hit, with early aggression. Even against say Ottoman, um, against quite a few cities, you can be facing some early aggression. English, anyways, and so forth. So to kind of counteract that, we're still going to be dropping a stable first, but we're going to be getting a wheelbarrow next before we get like another military production building or a market. So that's kind of the transition on this build, and it's also focused on getting trade out early as possible. So we're going to be getting our market and then our second military building out after the market, and we're going to go from there. I'm going to write in the video description kind of what the build order is. It is a little bit complicated. There is some variation. I did this test. I've tested this build about 15, 20 times, not 15 times, I'd say. I've got a pretty good average, a net average of what it's like. But there's definitely some games where I kind of show you later on in the build where you might go a little bit heavier on wood, a little bit less on wood, a little bit heavier on food and less on wood, and things like that. So, but this is I've kind of min maxed it to the point where I feel like it's in a pretty good spot right now to take on the rank and test it out. And that being said, the opening that we're going to do here is going to be a 9-2 split. We're going to do it live just so you guys can get a feel for it and see kind of how it goes. Hopefully we don't really mess it up. I've been practicing quite a bit. Just to summarize really quick, I guess it's a 9-2. The fast typical normal 9-2. The fast H2, 3 on wood. After that, 1 on food, 1 on gold. And this is kind of where the variations begin. You can be 3 on food or 2 on food, and then 4 on wood, 1 on gold, and then from there I just go all on the food. There's some really key timing points for like rotating your villagers from your sheep onto your deer, which needs to happen around the 7-minute mark or when you've got around 10 villagers, kind of depending on the map spawn that we're going to get and all that type of stuff. So we'll get into it now. We're going to go into just our fast H2. Let's see spawn here. Let's go over here next to the Uber. So another thing too, I forgot to mention that this build is going to be really nice for maps that we are going to be able to trade on. Highview is a really good map for this. Marshlands is a good map. Dry Arabia sometimes can be a really good map for this. It just kind of depends on the RNG, on map spawns. Sometimes it's really nice, sometimes it's not. We got a deer in the corner over here that's not showing up on the mini maps. That's kind of a really shitty spawn for us in terms of deer. The deer rotation is really nice. Hopefully this next deer patch is a little bit closer for us. 7 villagers on the food. Our 1 villager built Ubu on the gold, and the second villager is going to go on the gold now. This is just kind of my, not just mine, but a standard fast H2 for a lot of players. We've seen a couple more sheep, and I do want to be a little bit careful in terms of how we pick up sheep because we're going against AI. And sometimes they don't pick up the sheep. We just have to make sure that we don't over pick up sheep. Like it's not too easy for us because there's definitely times where in games we get denied a lot of sheep. So here's a pretty nice back deer for us. We get a sheep out of it as well. Get another villager queued up. Try to keep 2 villagers in queue. There's some moments when we're aging up. We have to force drop off, things like that, where you might have to kind of decide if you're going to do a queue or not. Our strategy is really far from our TC, so we're not going to go for it. That's another little detail I like to add in, is that when your straggler tree is right next to your TC, you can start chopping from that straggler tree. And it's actually in your favor to chop from that straggler tree than from another tree. Because you'll start chopping immediately. You can see how long it takes for him to drop this tree. So you're actually a little bit ahead in terms of wood cost. Okay, we're really close here. Gonna drop off. Let's do a manual drop off here. We'll drop this. Take these guys out of the control group. The H2 split is 2 on the gold, 1 on the food, and 1 on the wood. So it's really important that this gets split up properly. Here we've got 7 villagers. So one thing about this build is like we're not going to get like linear aggression going here. It's going to make the build gets always a lot harder once you start involving aggression into the mix. We've got 3 on the wood. Before I forget, 3 on the wood, and this next villager is going to be onto food. And now this next villager after this one on the food is on the gold, and you can see we have a 6-3-3 split. Is what's going to happen here. And from there, our villager on to gold, we're going to go on to food again. And the goal is to have enough food production to keep our one stable going, basically constantly. And over here, there we go, grab our vill that we've got 150 wood with. We can actually probably do this sooner. We're a little bit late on this. We're going to just select the scout, our Condigo scout. This villager after building the stable is going to come back to start chopping. And again, we've got 1 villager on the food. We want to get at least 1 more, if not 2 more villagers on the food. So we're looking for 9 to 10 villagers on food. And that's kind of like where a nice spot is in terms of villager unit production for us. AI's reached stage 2, we reached stage 2. We should be able to drop lancers here shortly. There we go, 427. And then we started production there. Again, we're gonna go. I think I'm gonna go ahead and invest this extra villager onto food. This is kind of where the variations begin. You can go to up to 10. You can switch off now onto wood. It's kind of depending what you want to do, but one big thing not to forget right now is that this next, why we're so heavy on gold right now is so we can get this wheelbarrow as soon as we can. That we just did. After these two Keshiks come out, I like to produce a scout. It kind of gives us a pause to let our eco kind of catch up here. And then, like I was saying, like right now we got more sheep. I don't want to bring the sheep to our base because it's gonna be like too much of like a pseudo boost to our economy that's not actually realistic. Because we wouldn't actually have that much economy going. We're gonna drop a market back here. We'll run this back corner. After you're done, come back up to here. And we're up to total 5 villagers on wood. These are 6, so 6 villagers on wood technically. I do like to get this upgrade to enforcement. We are gonna need it. And then, so technically right now we're on 7 villagers on wood. Because of this villager is actually a villager that's supposed to be on wood. And we can do one or two things. We can immediately start producing traders. And then what I've been liking to do is build one trader. And then this next 150 wood save up. And now that we've got a 8 on food, we're gonna go one more on the gold. We round out our production here. Make sure not to forget our unit production as well as our military production here. Go try to move our stable to the corner. Drop off here. Come over here to build. Let's drop this guy. And we drop on the range. And from here we're going to there. We do have 10 villagers onto food now. And this is kind of where things get interesting. Because you want to like be able to pull villagers off of food. Off of your main food here. But you have to be careful that you do it at a bad time. So again, we're just gonna send our con to die. Again, not something we normally do, but okay. Market is setting up, kind of unfortunate. Actually, we're gonna send this guy over here to do this. And you can see this is what I mean by the food transition. So you have to be a little bit careful. Make sure you get the upgrade. There we go, dropping off our gold. Getting 60 gold per trip, so it's a really good return on resources there. And we had some idle time, which is the TC in our production, which is a little bit unfortunate. And again, that's just all about staying, whether you rotate onto deer now or you rotate onto deer later. It's going to happen regardless. So, yeah, it's just kind of part of the deal, unfortunately. Over here, we'll just focus everyone on 2. Oh, over. Well, it's just one little error on the build order right here, so you can see that we over-invested into gold here on accident. Just things that happen. And yeah, this is just the build basically. And the idea is here by 10 minutes I have a really strong eco going. We're forcing our opponent to push us basically now. And we have like a like we've got a strong military, but we aren't all in on the military. Like if he starts building units, we're not like gonna be able to not fight him or something. Like if he beats us, we're not like basically like if he beats our army, we're not just basically just straight up dead. Like previously, we would take some fights, and then if we lose those fights badly enough, we were so all in on our eco that our recovery rate was just a lot further behind our opponent. So now with this build, our eco is in a lot better spot. and we can really start putting pressure on our opponent. That being said, to keep this constant production from these two buildings going, what we've got going is these 17 villages on food. I'll try to get over to 18, 17, 18, 16, right around there. And I'm going to switch villages back onto wood because we got to be able to start booming up behind this into the next age. So I try to save all of my stone for manga as well. We I like to put one village or two and start building more infrastructure. Here at this 10-minute mark is where I've been running all of my playtests to, just 10 minutes, surrendering and just seeing where my stats are at and everything. And so that's kind of what we're gonna do here, just so you guys can see what the build is kind of done in terms of its 10-minute efficiency. But there's definitely more all-in plays going either way in terms of going militarily more all-in. It's kind of what I used to do. I've yet to take this build onto ranked, but I think I have good feelings about this build just because it's I think eco-wise we're in a really good spot. The one thing is you can tell by 10 minutes only having these three manga because I focused on my building onto big stables. Again, that's just kind of just this example. You can always, it can be flipped. You could have this many, you could have 12 manga die and three knights or a horseman or whatever, or four because we got a fourth one here. So that's also kind of depends, and then the map. Like right now, we're trading long distance with 6 traders, and that's getting us a good amount of resources. But again, it's not like you absolutely have to. You can do half a map trade as well. That's another thing. But yeah, a big thing that's going to help is that the fact that we have our eco upgrades. With these eco upgrades, we're going to be in a lot stronger spot to fight our opponents and scale and just scale a lot better than we were in previous games because we weren't getting our wheelbarrow till 20 minutes in or something like that. So that's just like definitely just like shooting ourselves in the foot, not sneaking those eco techs in early, suffering a little bit of early military presence to just have a better game overall. Now, how I've been kind of grading these games and seeing, besides units and military infrastructure and timing, I've also been checking total income, excluding stone, just because we're Mongols and all of our stone is on the Uvi, so we're not going to really consider our Uvi production here. But basically, what we've been getting on this build order is on average 6,777, 78 resources. Every time we run this map, a different build or same build, just different maps, a little bit different variables on spawns, that type of deal. Sometimes we're doing it with shorts, little 6 trade, 6 gold per trade. Other times we're doing 12 gold per trade, 20. This one's happened to be 60. So um, yeah, it's just on average we were getting around 6,778, and this match, if I add the wood, the food, the wood, and the gold together, I'm getting 6,769. So this is pretty much just an average match for this build. You can tell there's definitely some idle time here because of food transition. If you do that food transition really clean, you only pull off like 4 or 5 villagers instead of all 10. You have enough resources here to do it properly without stagnating your build, which is what I did on this one. So it wasn't a perfect execution. Um, you can get up to like 6,900 resources, almost 7,000, which actually puts you on par with say Beastie's build or an all eco kind of an eco focused build. So that's just something to take note. Is if the better you execute that food transition onto deer, the better off you're going to be. Another little detail is you can take your early army and you can raid and do what you can in terms of raiding. Another thing you can do with your Keshiks is go for this boar. So this transition onto food, you kill that early boar and you're only going to kill 4 or 5 villagers, enough where it's not affecting your villager production. It will affect your military production, but it won't affect your villager production. Just peel a couple off. Instead of going for this close deer, you go for the far boar. And if you're lucky, like on this one, it's right next to the tower, to the market. So, to be able to tower somewhere along here, somewhere like here, even though it's outside of technically your trade production range, it's pretty close. to them. So in some sense, you kind of be able to protect this trade line a little bit. In this exact instance, not really, because you're a little bit out. You're gonna give some yam aura to the traders, but sometimes it's like the boar and the deer are right over here, and they're next to your trade line. So that's kind of like ideal. That's kind of the dream. That's kind of why we went for this one, because we're gonna be able to drop a tower here, and defend our trade line a little bit. But we got a pretty nice army, and like compared to the all-in military, when we go all-in with a military build, we're about 4 units less. You got about 4 less units out than our all-in with our military. 4 to 6 units less, but let's say in like a mirror match or whatever, like sure, if the opponent, or like if in this case we'll just act like I'm doing the eco build and our opponent is doing the all-in military build. In this example, if our opponent doesn't shut down our trade properly, or doesn't deal like a really good raid and is able to kill a lot of villagers, he's actually going to get outscaled by us by the 15-minute mark. So we would just basically have to protect and secure a trade line the best we can. And even if we don't fully secure a trade line, as long as we're with wheelbarrow here and he's not, we're actually outscaling him. We're going to be able to build more units than him by the 15-minute mark, and that's when we're going to be able to flip the script. And that's kind of what happens in most of my games. Is if I don't get a really good raid in on my full military builds, I'm getting kind of pushed back and rolled back into my base around 20 minutes, and that's usually kind of when my like eco's time to tick off and kick off again, because I'm just getting my upgrades then. So we're kind of trading a little bit of this early pressure to still have pressure, but a little bit less. But we're gonna scale a lot better into the late game. So this is kind of just um, I don't know what to call this build besides maybe an aggressive rush, an aggressive trade build. Um, But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We'll see how it goes. I am gonna work. I'm kind of working also on a 2TC build variation with improved villagers. There was a mention of that in BC's video too, and it spiked my interest, and it's curious because you can get pretty consistently. You can have 48 villagers by the 10-minute mark. Just for comparison, just so you guys can see. Right now we have. Let's not connect you. Can I just pick you, please? Okay, so go. We have 33 villagers. Is there another villager somewhere? No, no market. So in comparison to the 2TC build, the difference being that we have military out. The 2TC build, you have no military out. But we have 33 villagers right now. 10 minutes. And with the 2TC build, we would have 48. So we're talking a difference of 15 villagers, like a 50% bigger eco than what I have right now, which is huge. This is like really big. So if I haven't made um, a lot of damage in those 10 minutes, which you usually aren't with this build. Like you're getting rage, you might be closing him in on his base, but you're not actually able to like kill said villagers because they're all under TC. He'd be able to I'd be able to shut down this market, sure, which is trading 6 villagers, so it's actually 39. So the difference is 9 villagers there. But sometimes with really good spawns with that 2TC, I was getting 50, 52 villagers. So um, it's interesting because it's a super eco and greedy play, but you can get a lot of villagers out real quick. And like when I went all eco villager fast eco fast into trade and stables last variation of this build, with constant production with my trade going. My trade was getting up to like total villagers plus trade. I was sitting around like 45. So basically, the 2TC with improved villager production allows you to be competitive with basically every civ in terms of villagers by the 10-minute mark. One big thing is though you're using stones, so you're not going to be able to react to your opponent. And we'll kind of go into a little bit more depth if I do this build order video for the 2TC improved villagers. Is you have to scout your opponent. If they're on 1TC and they spot you and they're going aggro, you see 1TC aggression, you need to save your stone and just be content with 2TC and use your stone for military units. But if you see that they are 2TC as well, and booming or just playing some sort of greedy play, you can use that stone for improved villagers, and that extra eco that you're going to have, just invest in infrastructure, and you don't have to worry about using your stone for military. So yeah, that should be my next video after this one. Connection is still pretty spotty and stuff, so I kind of try to avoid ranked right now down here in Peru. So I'm going to do probably one more build order video on the 2TC production, and then I kind of want to test out a super greedy trade build with Silver Tree. Silver Tree is pretty good, but it's just like it's kind of underwhelming at times compared to what it used to be. And in part, it's because of it doesn't show here, the Silk Road bonuses kick in so late. But I think if you go Silver Tree plus another market, um, I think you can get really greedy with your trade early on. So, which is interesting in the sense that like you can have tons of gold, which is really nice. The only bad thing is when you have tons of gold, you have to trade it in your market, and you're actually getting less resources than you actually have accumulated. So, just food for thought. I might do that as well. So, again, kind of sorry about not being able to post a little bit more, guys. I did lose a whole bunch of videos on this last bug fix, which is interesting too. Is actually going to make I think Mongols in general better because the keeps got nerfed really significantly. Boiling oil is pretty really bad now. It's like 80% smaller than it used to be, so which is really big. And I think it's also really promising to see that the devs have made balance changes. And I think the next, because they only did like half the civs, I think Mongols are going to be the next to get changes after this, whether it be Keshiks or Mangadai, that we're going to see some changes, hopefully, but we'll see. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this build order is going to help you in some way. If you guys want to um, see another build order or something similar to this build order, just let me know in the comments, and we'll kind of see if there's something else we can cook up for build orders. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.